all things considered, that was a pretty good game. The Vancouver Canucks went out there and lost 2-1 in a shootout against the Florida Panthers here today, and this was a game that I ultimately said, heading into it, the Canucks are going to be screwed. No Bo, no Garland, no Miller, no Demko. You have Jaroslav Halak also out on protocols, so we have Spencer Martin as well as Mikey DiPietro called up from the Abbotsford Canucks, suiting up as the starter and backup in this game against the Florida Panthers team that is one of the best in the league, against the Florida Panthers team that smoked Edmonton yesterday. And sure, I said in today's earlier video that maybe in about 12 hours from that initial video's upload, I'll make another video talking about how the Panthers smoked Vancouver as well. And honestly, I thought the possibility of that happening was somewhat relevant, but Spencer Martin, dude, what a legend this guy is. What an absolute legend in his very first Vancouver Canucks game. You gotta remember, the first time we talked about Spencer Martin on this channel was when the Canucks made a trade with the Tampa Bay Lightning, sending Martin from the Syracuse Crunch to the Abbotsford Canucks. That was the first time we talked about this guy. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought when we made that video initially all those months ago, okay, we're gonna see this guy's name pop up once because he shows up in a trade, and then that's gonna be it. Like, it's super unlikely that we actually hear Spencer Martin's name in a relevant way in terms of the Vancouver Canucks, right? He's just an AHL goaltender. Granted, he's pretty young, 26 years old, is certainly not, you know, dinosaur or whatever it is, but this is a guy who, under the circumstances of Vancouver losing out on both Demko and Halak, showed up to play, and he carried over the level of consistency as well as quality from the AHL into this game here tonight. This game honestly could have gone either way, but it ends up being 1-1 after overtime and regulation because the goaltending on Vancouver's end was very, very good. I'm going to go out there and say it. The Canucks had some chances to bury the puck past Spencer Knight. They had a few opportunities that were point blank that got stopped, but you're not going to go out there and cancel the Florida Panthers entirely. It's the Florida Panthers. They had so many wide open looks, so many giveaway attempts that they capitalized on in the face-off circles and the high slots that were just swallowed up by Spencer Martin. And sure, the Vancouver Canucks are kind of a depleted roster themselves. As we noted, no Horvat, no Miller, no Garland. A lot of their forwards are out. You have Sheldon Dries playing in this game, and he's one of the replacement level forwards from the taxi squad. The Canucks did not really do their best defensively. And I get it, they're playing a team in Florida that played yesterday, but come on, it's Florida. Either way, the point is, this game would not have gone to overtime or a shootout had it not been for Spencer Martin, and this guy pretty much became an overnight hero here in the city of Vancouver, because facing off against the other Spencer Knight for the Florida Panthers, who, to his credit, has not really been all too great this year either, absolutely held the fort down and got the Canucks to where they were. Now, let's talk about the goals, let's talk about some of the chances, talk about some of the things that stood out to me, in my opinion. The Canucks actually get the first goal of the game. This one was a Quinn Hughes drive from the top of the umbrella. It's on the power play. He shoots it. It goes off of Tanner Pearson's stick. He deflects it up, and then as it goes towards the net, it tips off of Alex Chason's arm and right by Spencer Knight. 1-0 lead for Vancouver, and it stays that way for a while. It ends off in the first period, actually, 1-0. The Panthers don't actually get their goal until the third period, where Matthew Highmore is knocking down a centering cross-crease attempt, and because he knocks it down, it deflects right in front to Sam Reinhart, who is cutting across the net. He just picks it up, he puts it in, and Martin isn't really tracking it properly because he's anticipating the pass. He doesn't expect Highmore to knock the pass down. So not really Martin's fault on this one. If anything, it was the Canucks defense for even allowing that cross-crease opportunity, but it's 1-1 for the remainder of the third period, and it really is the Spencer Martin show afterwards, because you have Carter Verhaeghe with several shots on the face-off circle walking in with speed. You have Sam Reinhart right in front getting denied by Spencer Martin, and sure, the Canucks had their own chances too, most of them thwarted away by Spencer Knight. There was a Brock Besser one-timer on the left side that got stopped point blank. Höglander had like a breakaway or two where he got stopped by Spencer Knight. That guy was all over the puck today, and it was just kind of frustrating seeing him not be able to bury one because he had so many opportunities. I believe Tyler Mott had a point-blank chance too. I think he had a few of those opportunities right in front, but the two Spencers put on a show today, and it's honestly something that I wasn't really expecting all too much. Of course, firstly, because of the circumstances regarding Spencer Martin in his debut, but also because Spencer Knight on the Florida end has been pretty bad this year. So it was really great to see the battle of goaltending here in this one, seeing both the Spencers go out there and absolutely steal some saves left and right. The overtime, though, is when things get a little bit crazy, because this overtime is pretty much all Florida. There was a 3-minute shift that the Panthers had in the Canucks zone, where OEL, Lammikko, and Highmore were trapped out there the entire time. The Panthers were able to change, I think, like 2 or 3 times. They were just pretty much offensive zone ragging at this point, sending it back along the perimeter, finding the D-man, not escaping the zone, getting everybody else changing, while the Canucks are just kind of standing there looking for an opportunity to steal. And the Panthers were just looking for that perfect shot. It didn't come. There was an eventual steal by OEL, and eventually the Canucks changed, but at that point, it was the end of the overtime period, and we went to a shootout, where things kind of got a little bit crazy. Now, in the shootout, everybody kind of recognizes that JT Miller, Bo Horvat, and Conor Garland are kind of the guys for Vancouver at this point. PD is there too, but when it comes to the players that Bruce Boudreau relies upon and the players that have won Bruce Boudreau games, it is that duo of Miller and Horvat. They're not in tonight, and so it's Brock Boeser initially who takes the first shot, and he scores. He goes onto the backhand, buries it by Spencer Knight. He is a little bit too far out of his crease as Boeser comes in with speed, which opens up that angle and allows Boeser to punt it in. The first shot by Florida was Jonathan Huberdeau. He tries to go Forsberg on Spencer Martin, but Martin sticks out the pads, he stops it up, and the Canucks have the lead. Eventually, though, the Canucks get 2 more shots. It's from Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes, both of whom fail to convert. Meanwhile, Anton Lundell dekes to the backhand. He pots one over the pads of Martin, and then you go from rookie to veteran over here. Alex Barkov comes in and absolutely makes a fool out of what the goalie is trying to do. He dekes to the forehand, and then he quickly pulls it to the backhand, but he pulls it to the backhand with enough force that he can let go of the stick with his left hand and shove the puck in with a little loose wrist right there. He goes backhand poke on a goaltender who was biting forehand the entire time. And so, ultimately, the Canucks lose in this one. It is a 2-1 shootout loss, which, I mean, if you told me that it was going to be a 2-1 shootout loss, like, I would have absolutely been ecstatic with that. Now, if you take a look at the NHL standings and you see where the Vancouver Canucks are, they are still indeed above the Edmonton Oilers. That happened a while ago. But they're 40 points in 40 games played. They're still at 500. 2 points behind the Calgary Flames, although the Flames do have 5 games in hand. All the other teams above the Canucks, though, San Jose, LA, Anaheim, and Vegas, they have more games played than the Vancouver Canucks, and the Canucks are down by 4, 5, 7, and 10 points, respectively. So, I don't want to go out there and make any guarantees as to how well the Canucks are going to do in terms of making the playoffs, but in a game like this, where you're playing one of the best teams in the league, you have yourselves a goaltender that is fresh out of the AHL, you're missing all your top guys, the fact that it even went to a shootout is a good thing. The fact that we saw this team actually play well with guys like Sheldon Dries and Highmore and Justin Bailey, it's a pretty good thing. All you need is one more bounce, one more inch or two, give or take, because you gotta remember there are a few posts in this game. Tanner Pearson hit a post, and then a Florida Panthers defender also rung off the post too. So both Spencers getting lucky over here tonight, both Spencers standing on their heads. It's a 1-1 game going into a shootout for a reason. Eventually there has to be a winner. Talk to me in the comments, what do you think about the Vancouver Canucks facing off against the Florida Panthers? 50% capacity, eh? It felt more like 100% based off of the volume of the crowd. All the missed tripping calls on Pettersson that were booed upon by the fans, yeah, that felt good to see. The Bruce, there it is, after the first goal scored by Chason, yeah, that was good to see too. Actually, no, not to see, to hear, because, you know, you don't see sound. Okay, I'm gonna go. Talk to me in the comments on your thoughts about the Canucks and the Panthers. I hope you enjoyed. This was Josh Olsen 99, and bye.